So
Yeah.
both of those are good. And also the Internet Chess Club, but I believe you have to pay to get on there. So Lichess and chess.com are free. ICC is paid, but it's not much. It's not real expensive.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you play with a friend on that site or not?
Yeah, you can. You can. If you want to play a friend, you just have to figure out a way to contact them, message them. You can have games that are going on for a week, and you don't have to sit there the whole time. You make a move, and then you just turn off the computer, and then later on they'll make a move. Maybe it's the next day, and you just go check, did they make a move yet? And so you can have games that go like that, or you can have fast games, all the different varieties. And everybody's playing chess online now because they've shut down active tournament play.
Yeah.
So it's the only way now.
Okay. Thanks.
I want to start today with a brief history of chess. The reason I like to teach the history of the game is because so much can be understood about how to play just from looking at the history. So when your screen goes black, you can't see me, but you can still see me, right?
I was cleaning my screen with my phone.
Okay. So I want to talk about the history. Chess, first of all, it's more than a game, I think. I think of it as much more than a game. It comes from India in probably over 1,000 or maybe 2,000 years ago is when it originated. Now, I have a lot of images I can show you. Let me see what I've got. This book here, Learning Chess Through History. I like this way because if you look at the games throughout history, you can see the evolution of our understanding of the game. Okay. Now, I want to show you, if I can find it, an image of early chess. Yeah, they're just starting here in this book. They're starting in moderns in Spain. They're not going to go back to the Indians or to India. But I can probably even quickly Google an image to show you chess in ancient India. So, show you this one here. If you can see this one. Can you see that image there?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you notice that the board, take a look at let's see. It was called Chaturanga, and I was trying to show you, well, it disappeared. I'll try to have better pictures. So what they had was a chessboard that looked like this. So the pieces moved around, but they didn't alternate colors. So do these colors really mean anything? No, they really don't. The chess board is exactly the same without the colors. The colors just make it easier for our mind to look at it. They eventually decided to add the colors to make it easier to comprehend. So originally it was just squares, and it was a map, it was a battlefield. So it was these were war plans. Now, India is one of the first, as far as I know, and I believe this can be proven too, is one of the first countries to have a military that had a standing military with division of labor. So you can see the division of labor here. And are the pieces reflecting too much? I have a different light.
No, it's very good.
Okay, good. With my glasses, everything reflects.
Yeah.
Okay, so the division of labor, you can see you got the foot soldiers, you got the king. This used to not be a queen. It used to be the first advisor, and it only moved the same. This used to move the same. They used to move the same. The bishop and knight. The knight was a horse. Just back then, it was a horse, and it's a horse now. But this was different. This is the bishop now, but it was an elephant. The elephant was one of the most important pieces, and it was one of the most important members of the military. They used to follow the elephant for their battle plans. They would follow the elephant's ancestral pilgrimage in order to plan their battles. So they didn't try to force the elephants to work with them. They adapted to the schedule of the elephant. That's how important the elephant was. And it's very spiritual. And that's why you see a bishop here, because what is the European equivalent of what the elephant meant? Probably a bishop of a church, you know, that important. These pieces, okay, so in the beginning, when chess was in India, this was the chariot. This moved the same then as it does today. It was a chariot. This one moves the same as then as it did. It moves the same now as it did then. This moves differently. This used to move like an elephant. It could go straight to, and then to the diagonal this way or diagonal this way. So it only could go to 5 squares, and it was shaped kind of like an elephant, the feet and the nose. Rooks during this time, chariots, you think of Egypt with these light, fast chariots. These were not light, fast chariots. These were highly decorated. They were huge and full of religious symbolism, and arrows were shot from the top. Okay, now chess may have originated in India, but it was quickly picked up by the Persians. They loved it, and it was picked up by Islam. Islam is what spread chess all over the world. Islam took chess from India into just everywhere they went. So the next place you really see it showing up is in Spain, because you can see with the Islamic moves into Spain, chess moves into Spain right around the same time. And that's where we get the origins of modern chess, is from Spain.
Huh.
From a guy named Ruy Lopez. I'm sure you've probably heard the name Ruy Lopez at some point. Even if you're not a chess player, you might have heard it. He's that famous. So chess takes a little bit of root in Spain, and we get the beginning with people like this guy. This is Lucena. There's a picture of him. So you can start seeing chess is beginning to be important. They're beginning to do, you know, paintings of famous chess players. They're making major contributions that are still with us today, and we'll learn some about those. So Spain takes root in, chess takes root in Spain. Islam always had kind of a difficult relationship with chess. They said it was an extremely addictive game, and it would take you away from spiritual studies. But they liked it because they said it helped them with strategic planning, and that helped other aspects of what they were trying to do. The Catholic Church also had a strange relationship with chess. They condemned it. They said it would lead to violence, which it did. There were fights broke out over chess games. The people who took to chess without any moral equivocation were really the Jews, and especially a group of people, the crypto Jews, Jews in hiding during the Spanish Inquisition, where chess flourished. So Lucena, he was a crypto Jew, a convert. He converted from Judaism to Catholicism, but he didn't carry any baggage about chess. He was able to just play. So that's where a lot of the study starts, is in that community in Spain and in Italy. Then, okay, so then chess morphs. I don't mean to, no pun intended, okay? But we cut to America about 1860s for the first world champion, whose name is Paul Morphy. He did not become world champion because the people, he took a boat to England to play the modern champions, and they just simply refused. They just refused to play him. They knew he would win, and they wanted to keep the title, and the first title ends up going to Steinitz. So Steinitz is our first official world champion, but everybody knows, everybody who plays chess knows that Paul Morphy was the one who gave us modern chess. So let's look at modern chess. Modern chess is different from before Paul Morphy because of one thing: development. So you've heard me talk about development, the importance of getting the pieces out. Now, this would not be something that would be innately understood by people. So for many generations, chess was played. And if you have experience playing chess as a beginner, you know what it feels like, the strange situations you find yourself in, complex forests, you don't know how you got there. And it's a beautiful, fun game, no matter what level you're at. But what Paul Morphy taught us was that the way to win was to develop your pieces as fast as possible. So let's look at what is considered to be one of the most beautiful games of chess ever played, and kind of the beginning of modern chess too. So this game was played in the 1860s. I don't know the exact date, but it was played between Paul Morphy, who was widely recognized as the greatest player in the world, and a man named the Duke of Brunswick. So let's go through it. Now, Paul Morphy is white. So I'm going to talk now about development. First move, we're developing the bishop, the queen, we're grabbing these center squares. Black is doing the same. Develop a piece and attack. Remember last week I told you the best response is to bring the knight here. Now this response was given to us, well, the person who made this response famous, although I'm sure this move was played many thousands of times over the course of centuries, right? But the person who made it famous was a man named Philidor. He was both a chess prodigy and a musical prodigy during the French Revolution. And he moved from France to England when the revolution happened, so he didn't have to experience it. But he is famous for being one of the first, he was the first one to do musical comedy, or comic opera, musical comedy, and chess prodigy as a child. So if you would have been in the cafes of Paris in about this, just before the revolution, you might have seen Philidor playing chess with the likes of, you know, some of the other famous people of the revolution. People like, I'm thinking even John Locke. There's like, he knew them. And they played him because he was a child prodigy. Okay, so now he's an adult when he plays this. So this is passive and weak. It blocks in the dark squared bishop. Is it a terrible opening? No, it's not terrible. It's a legitimate opening. Okay, so the first thing he does, now you notice this, I want you to pay particular attention to this move. What's the first thought you have about this move? Moving the pawn here.
The black pawn is gonna take it.
Right, that's the first thought. What was your first thought about it, Raphael? Water.
Take your time. Take your time, Anthea.
Water went down the wrong pipe. Sorry. What's your first thought, Raphael? I can't hear you.
The black pawn is going to grab the yellow one.
Right. Now, do we care?
No.
Do I care? Should I care?
Not that much.
No, I'm just going to recapture. And what do I have? Two
Then
pieces in the center. I have
Yeah.
2 pieces in the center. But notice the reaction of fear. Just notice the little fear, right? Do you have a little fear to put it here?
No.
It's ridiculous. There's nothing to worry about. We're better. Okay, so he should not take. That would not be a good move to take it. So he comes and pins the knight. Now let's talk about this pin. You see this thing holding up the board?
yeah.
That's a pin. So this is pinned, just like this is pinned. That means if I move the knight anywhere, right? If I move this knight anywhere, what's going to happen?
He's gonna take. He's gonna take the queen.
Yes, the bishop is going to take the queen. So this is called a pin. Now this is a relative pin. If the king were pinned instead of the queen, this is called an absolute pin. That means this move is illegal. But the difference is, in a relative pin, it's illegal. I'm sorry, it's legal, it's just not good, right? Okay, so he comes and pins the knight. Is it a good move? It's okay, yeah, he's developing and attacking. All right, so I take the pawn. Now I want you to try and do a little bit of calculation here. What is going to happen if black simply recaptures that pawn? Try and figure it out. I'll give you a minute.
The knight is going to take the place.
This move here, what happens after this?
Then the knight could grab it.
Well, that would result in an immediate checkmate, right? Right, because this is guarded by the bishop. So we can't do that. But what we do is we trade first.
Yeah.
And now I win a free pawn, see? Is it important to win a pawn?
No.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it important?
Yes. Every pawn. In a game between grandmasters, whoever gets ahead of pawn will probably win.
Okay.
In a game between kids and beginners, anything could change. But in a theoretical game, in an absolute sense, you're winning once you get that pawn. Now that's calculation. What I just showed you is do that in your head before you see it on the board. That's chess, and that's the hard part, but it's fun too. Okay, so imagine, I tell the kids, see it in your mind. So see in your mind the pawn taking, then this pawn taking, then takes, and not pinned anymore. So he can't do that. He has to do this. He has to trade. He can't, I'm sorry, I already took that pawn, but he cannot recapture. So I take here. Now he can recapture. Now this is Paul Morphy, and this is the Duke of Brunswick. It's White's move. So I want you to suggest a move to me that threatens something and develops a piece. Either one of you.
The bishop from 1c can threaten the queen, I think.
Yeah, but if you do that, that's not guarded. There's nothing guarding that bishop.
Oh, yeah, got it.
It does, you're right, it does threaten the queen, but the queen can capture it with no consequence.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord, okay.
let's look at some possibilities. This is possible. This or this is fine. This is possible, check. And this is possible. What is the, do you guys recognize this here? What's this look like?
A triangle? I mean,
Do you remember from last week?
yeah.
It's the 4-move checkmate, right?
Oh, wow.
You see it?
Yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah.
I'm threatening to come here.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, now, so now black's moves. Black goes here. And this is blocking the threat. Now Paul Morphy does something that you would not see in a modern game. You would not see moving the pieces 2 times like this. However, you know, this was kind of ancient chess, really. Now I'm threatening 2 pawns. Tell me which 2 pawns am I threatening?
The one on B7.
B7, that's correct. And there's another one too. With a different piece, I'm threatening the other one.
Okay.
F7?
Yes, correct. Because it's guarded. Now, if my queen was not here, and I just simply took this pawn, of course, you would, just take it. It has to be guarded. But it's guarded by my queen. So he cannot protect them both. So he made this move to protect this. Now, this really shows why Morphy was so great. The impulse is to take this, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't grab material. Now, let's take a look. He's got 2 pieces developed, and he has almost none. He pins the knight. Okay, so he pins the knight. In other words, instead of grabbing extra pawns like most of us would do, even today, he says development is more important. Okay, now black has a chance to guard this pawn. So he guards the pawn by moving this pawn. Tell me, how did moving this pawn here guard this pawn? I'll do it again. See, it's here. Now it's here. Now the pawn is safe. Why? What's different between this and this?
Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I uncovered the queen.
Yeah.
These are subtle moves. People, it takes a while. It takes a little bit of time with a chessboard to get to where you see those. Okay, so he's guarded now. Does white continue to develop? Yes, white continues to develop. Now, black should start developing some pieces, right? He's only got 2 pieces out. How many pieces has white got out?
5 or 4?
1, 2, 3, 4. And how many has white got? Has black got?
2.
2.
Yeah.
So now it's black's turn. He should do this maybe, but he doesn't. He's greedy. He's chasing material. So this was heard, kind of like the shot heard round the world, this move here. I said, I don't care. I don't care about my piece. Why don't I care?
Because then the diagonal is going to catch it.
Yeah, bishop.
Well, let's look. Can he block this way? No, because he's going to lose his queen. Can he go here? Well, yeah. Doesn't look too good, though. I can castle and put him in check. So he blocks. How many pieces of his are pinned now? 1, 2. And is this a relative pin or an absolute pin? Can it move?
No, he cannot move.
Right. Can this one move?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so white has now less material. If we would just count the material, white would be losing. Look, 5, 10, 19, 22, 25, 28, and then pawns. So 29, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. We got 3, 6, 10 with the 2 rooks. Wait, it's 3, 6. Okay, so that's 16 plus 9, 23, 20, 22, 16 plus 9.
It's 25.
25.
Yeah.
So black has more points once you add in the pawns. So, but it doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter? Because the energy, where is the energy? The energy is here. And black, is this pawn, is this bishop helping him?
Are you blocking it? I don't. No.
No.
Because he has the queen.
Is this rook part of the game?
Raphael, because you're moving, Anthea, you have to talk because otherwise we can't see you.
We can't see. What do you mean?
Yeah. So when you talk, actually, you get into the speaker view. And
okay.
we can see the map better. But
okay, all right, I'll keep talking. Okay, so this rook is basically out of the game.
Right, because it's blocked.
Yeah. Now, if white played poorly, sure, black would be able to catch up. He would be able to, maybe he could come here and develop. See, maybe he could do that. And then his pieces would be in the game. But he's not going to have time because I'm going to keep the pressure up. So tell me, what would be a good move here? I just showed it to you. What would be a good move here for white to continue the attack on this knight?
Well, the bishop.
If the bishop comes and takes.
No, the king, yeah, the
black is very happy now. Black says, thank you for taking the pressure off. How can I attack him again a third time? I've got one attacker. Well, it's just one attacker. So how do I add another attacker?
Okay.
And develop at the same time.
Can you put that king?
It's castling. I'm in a castle queenside. This was heard round the world. This, don't feel bad if you didn't think of this move, because this move is part of the reason this game is considered one of the most beautiful chess games ever played. He was so amazing. He was so amazing that he continued to attack and develop even into the end game. Now, what's the threat? Well, if I take this, can he recapture with the knight? Yes, yeah. He can, but then he loses his queen, right?
Yeah.
If I take this, can he take back with the queen? Yes, but then he loses his queen.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, the end of the game for him. If I take this, can he just move here?
Mm-hmm.
He can, But at this point, I mean, he's just really getting slaughtered. There's another check. And now I've got more of his pieces. Because pieces are important. I mean, that's why this game is famous, is because he was giving up all of his pieces and attacking. Shows that pieces are important, but the attack is more important. So what does he do? He tries to add one more defender. Now this is the combination that really gets attention. So the first thing I do is I trade. Now this is trading a rook, which is 5 pawns, for a knight, which is only 3 pawns. So again, I'm giving up material. But do I want to be capturing with this?
No, because the queen gets
The
attacked.
queen, right. So he takes with this. Now, there's no point trading again because I've given up so much material as white here. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so white has given up. White has now given up an entire rook for his attack. So just capturing the rook is not enough. How can I add another attacker to that rook?
To move the queen?
The queen? I could go here and then I have 2, but if I take, he's gonna want to trade queens now. He's happy to trade queens now.
Well, I was thinking not going there with the queen. I was going
Here?
Yeah.
But then if he takes, we're just trading queens, so that's not so bad for him.
Yeah.
Isn't there another piece on the board I haven't used yet?
The
rook on h1.
Rook on h1. Bring it over. He moved, look at this. Every single piece was brought into this game. Now you know why this is beautiful. Every piece, it's like a symphony. Every piece is attacking and developing. Attack and develop. Okay, can the rook capture the rook?
But
No, because the king is going to get it.
Yeah, king is in check. It doesn't matter that he put my king in check because he's not allowed to move into check.
Yeah.
So he can't move his rook. So what do you think he should do here? Black. What's he worried about?
Well, which pieces of the white is he worried about? The bishop?
Yeah, maybe a move like this would put him away because if he has to take this way, then he loses his queen.
Yeah.
And well, the truth is he has enough pieces now. He might even be able to survive losing his queen because I would have a queen versus these 2 pieces, which I'll probably still win. That's how powerful the queen is, right? But he doesn't want to do that. He wants to survive. So I'll just tell you, he moves here and says, draw. He's kind of saying, come on, let's trade queens and we'll take a draw, you know? So he takes the knight, the rook. Now, how can the king capture? Can the king capture?
No.
No. So he takes with the knight. One of the things that he did when he moved his queen here was he freed his knight. See that? Now, when I come over here and take, he can recapture with the knight.
Yeah.
Now, here's the position. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to find the next move. It's checkmate in 2 moves. It does involve a queen sacrifice for white.
It does not involve a queen sacrifice?
It does.
It does.
I'm going to give you one hint. What would this be?
Not possible because the knight is blocking it.
But if you could get the knight here, what would this be?
It would be a check.
Would it be a checkmate?
No.
Bishop.
It would.
Yes.
Yes. Would he be able to move here?
No.
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 He can't capture the rook. If I could put the rook here, it would be checkmate, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so you need to take the knight somehow.
Somehow. If I just take the knight with this, he's going to take.
Yeah.
So how can I get that knight to move?
Right.
Keep in mind, I told you there will be a queen sacrifice. Okay, go ahead and take a few more minutes. You have 1 minute.
But I would, oh God, okay. It's moving the queen, but
This isn't going to do anything, right?
no, yeah, that's not going to.
So the goal, we want this to go away.
Yeah.
Because if it goes away, we'll have a straight shot.
Okay. I guess move the queen to b6.
Then I'm going to take with the pawn.
Oh, with the pawn. Yeah, I forgot the pawn. Oh.
Or the queen.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm definitely not doing this.
Right, got it.
Time's up. Okay. Check. Does he have any other way out of check?
Take the, yeah, goes
He
there.
has to take the queen.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Wow, it is gorgeous. I
It
can't
is.
believe I didn't think of the queen going all the way there.
No, you know, there's only one Paul Morphy.
Oh my God. Yeah.
People would see it today. A chess player would see it today, but he saw it, you know, it's because of the greats that lived before us. Okay, that is a very famous game. I'm just going to show it real quick again, just go over it real quick, because I want you to, the main thing I want you to notice is that every move, he develops a piece. I think there's one exception. And there's no dilly-dallying. Every move is purposeful. It has a direct threat. Must be answered. If it's not answered, you're in trouble. That's excellent chess. Okay, first move, developing the bishop and the queen. Attack the pawn, defend the pawn, attack the pawn. Can't take. Pins, takes. Has to take if he wants to recapture. Developing the queen. Again, I don't like moving the queen out too early, but this is 1860, you know. Directly threatening this 4-move checkmate. blocks. I double attack. This is the only time I moved a piece twice so far. He defends in a very awkward way. There's problems if he goes here too. Developing, bringing out a piece and doing something with that piece, pinning something. Now, greedy, right? Because he cares more about his pawns than he does about his development. So I continue to develop. This is one of the only moves that where I developed and there was no attack. It was just a developing move. Again, greed, greed. Sacrifices the first piece. Because look, he's still got more pieces out. Okay, blocking, everything's pinned. This is a beautiful developing move, one of the most beautiful developing moves ever. Defending, we begin sacrificing material. Every single move, he brings another piece into the attack. Tries to offer a trade, check, and gives up the last piece and checkmate him with his 2 remaining pieces. It's beautiful. And it teaches everybody who plays chess the importance of development. There are many games that show this, just nothing quite as pretty. Well, actually, that's not true. There's plenty of pretty games that show this, but this is historically important. Check the time. Okay, so the time is 10:44. I want to ask if you guys have any questions.
Not for now.
I guess you answered that, or you told us before that to start seeing future moves, you have to play a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, because just looking at something and trying to do this on the spot, it's not.
Well, there are people, I know lots of people who are just interested in studying chess. They never actually play. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people like that. They follow world championship games. They know how the game is played. They find beauty in it, but they never play. So there are people like that, and I think that's kind of neat. In fact, one of the chess teachers at American Chess Academy, he comes from Iran, and he really never played much tournament chess his whole life. He just studied the game and taught the game. It's unusual. I think playing is important, but like I said, there's people who just love the beauty.
Wow, okay.
Did you guys have any problems at all following what I was showing you in this game?
I mean, at times, yes. I mean, there's no way
Sometimes.
I saw things like this. I mean, it's quite involved. I mean, it's not incomprehensible, but it's hard to, to predict the moves. Like, I can't predict any of the moves.
Okay, but when I explained them, they all made sense. You didn't have any questions about where they moved? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me back up a little bit here. I'm going to go, and I guess I'll go until, it's 10:46 now, so I'll go until 11.
Yeah, or even, yeah, that's fine.
I can go past that, that's fine.
Oh, no, that's
I hope my phone is not going to die, but because it's not willing to charge.
Yeah, it's 11, that's fine.
11's good. Okay, so what I want to do is after, now that we looked at a game where he is developing his pieces every move, I want to just kind of go over what should you be doing in the early part of the game. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay. So let's talk about each of these pawns, for example. We know that this is a good opening move. And we know that this is also a good opening move. Now, this is actually a real opening. It's called the English. However, I don't like to teach it to kids or beginners because I want them to focus on a straightforward control of the center. Does this pawn control the center?
No, it's slightly to the.
It sort of does. It has one square. What's great about it is that it's coming here and saying, I'm going to take the center, whether you like it or not, basically. He's saying, if you put a pawn here, I'm going to take it, and I'm still going to have a pawn in the center. Even after you recapture, I'm still going to get a pawn in the center. Okay, so that's what that move means. And there's a black variation of that called the Sicilian, where you go here and they go here. Basically saying, if you try to put a pawn there, I'm going to take it. You're not going to get two pawns in the center, but I am, right? I'm the one with two pawns in the center. They're not as advanced, but I have them in the center. Okay, so that's what that means. What about this pawn? What if we were to open a game with this pawn? Am I controlling the center? I think we lost Raphael.
You can be close.
Oh, still there. I'm not controlling the center.
Okay.
Now, this is a real opening though. It's called the orangutan or the Soloski. It's called the orangutan because Soloski was playing in a championship match and they asked him, what move are you going to play first? And he said, I'm going to play B4. And they said, why? And he said, because I asked the orangutan at the zoo and that's what the orangutan told me to play. So it's got the name now, the orangutan. And he won. Of course, he was, just really good. So the moral of that story is you can get away with a lot if you're really good. You can get away with a move like this, right? And then you are going to control the center. You're going to do it with a bishop. So your plan is still involving the center. Okay, now this one. Is this good?
Well, I mean, no, because it's even further away from
this. This is horrible. This is the worst. Now I play this sometimes because that's fun. I play it and then I put a knight. Here. Because now you can't kick me. See, they're both under attack. But those are advanced ideas, and don't worry about those. So yes, everything in chess can be played. That's the truth. Everything. But for beginners, for kids, I want them to focus on the center and get used to that being how you control the game. So do either of you play tennis?
I don't.
You don't? Ping pong? No, ping pong is not a good example. Well, I give the tennis example because when you're on the court, okay, what is the best place for you to stand after you hit the ball back?
In the middle.
Now, in the middle, because you want to be the shortest distance to wherever it goes, right? You're always going to want to run back to the middle. If we were in a room and there were doors all around it and all of the doors could be attacked by aliens, would we want to be in the center of the room or in the corner somewhere?
In the center, because then people can.
In the center to guard everything at once. So it's the same principle of the radius of a circle is the shortest distance, right? So occupying the center makes sense. Now, let's do a couple more moves here. This is a typical game. Now we're going to bring this out, right? I recommend this because now you can castle. It's the simplest way to get the most developed. You can either go here, here, or here. Take your pick. There really isn't one that's better than the other, but they do involve long-term strategies.
So the way you open, you move the pawn and then you move the rook.
You mean if you want to get the rook out?
Well, yeah, it seems like you did the pawn first.
You mean if I want to get the rook out?
Not the rook, then the horse. What is that?
Okay. So the knight,
Knight. So,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is not, doesn't have to be the first move or the second move, but I like it because it develops a piece, it attacks a pawn, and it gets me closer to castling. That's
Got
why
it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like this because it develops a piece, it guards a piece, and it's just the best he's got. It does not get him much closer to castling unless he's going to castle queenside. Okay,
Now,
so the
when,
next,
yeah,
go ahead.
when you move up, so that's the interesting thing. I'm starting to see it a little bit. So you move, you develop, but you also, that piece does something else. It could attack.
Develop and attack.
Yeah.
So at the very least, you want to develop in the first part of the game, the beginning part of the game.
Yeah.
If you can develop and attack at the same time, that is best. That's why I like this move here better than this move.
Got
But
it.
this is an opening. It's not that nobody ever does this. People do this, but it's not attacking anything. That's why I don't like it.
Got it.
And then this move I like mainly because I like this. It attacks the f7 pawn. And now, more importantly, I'm going to be getting castled.
And the castle is important because it moves the rook closer to the other rook.
Combination of things.
Yeah.
If you don't castle, you can get your king stuck in the center. I can try to find a game that shows an example of this. But when your king is not allowed to castle, sometimes it gets checkmated early in the game.
Got it.
So that's why. And also, we're going to want to be building stuff up in the center, so we don't want our king to be anywhere near that. Another thing is, if somebody puts you into, let's say, I'm gonna do, I moved here, and now I'm just gonna pretend that I come here. Now, let's say he comes here and checks me. Should I move my king to get out of check?
No.
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 What
No.
should I do instead?
Move to F.
Move this way?
I think.
No, I don't need to move him at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to move him. So how can I get out of check without moving him?
Without moving him. Oh, I
Moving
guess
the
you
knight.
can castle.
I can't castle if I'm in check, remember?
Oh,
Moving
God,
the
right.
knight.
The knight is one way. I could move the knight here. I could move the knight here. What else can I do?
Moving the bishop.
Yep, I can move the bishop here. And what else can I do?
Moving the queen.
I could. Not a good idea, but I
It's not a
could.
good idea because it's going to grab it.
Right. No, I want you to tell me, even if it's not a good idea, just every possibility. What's the last one we haven't looked at yet? For some reason, because I'm always warning kids not to move, kids and beginners, not to move too many pawns. They stop seeing pawn moves, but pawn moves can still be made. And this is an excellent pawn move. Now you see the difference between an excellent pawn move and a bad pawn move. So if he was here, now the truth is this is always a good pawn move, but I'd have to explain a whole lot to explain that. But random pawn moves are what I don't like.
You continue. I'll be right back. I need to.
Okay. So if he goes here, the reason I like it is because I'm grabbing what's called a tempo. It's a tempo. In music, a tempo is like the beat, right? So I'm grabbing a beat because he has to move again. He cannot stay here. What happens if he goes here? See if you can find a good move if I escape by moving my bishop back here. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to look at it. Okay. I'll give you a hint. This bishop is in big trouble. He cannot move back. And sometimes pawn moves can be very good when they're purposeful. And this is a trap. So right now we have, Raduca, we have 1 more minute. The bishop is here. The bishop is in big trouble. It's white's move. What can you do to this bishop? The bishop came out here. I checked it and it came here.
Yeah.
So, but this bishop is in trouble. But only if white makes the right move. Can this bishop retreat this way?
No.
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 That's a clue.
Hmm.
Well, I know the pawn can take him if he goes forward. Oh,
How many squares?
2.
2 you can do.
Correct. This is called the Noah's Ark trap.
Yeah.
This bishop has nowhere to go. See, he cannot go here. And if he takes, he just gets captured, which he should, because at least then he gets a pawn for it. Very good. Excellent. Seeing that trap. So let's look at that again. Bishop comes out. Best way to get out of check is to chase him and force him to move again. Sometimes when you force somebody to move again, you'll force them to make a bad move like this.
Yeah.
Now, most players who play regularly are not going to make this move, although I have been known on occasion to make moves like that. Most players will simply run away. But, you know, we're human. We make mistakes, right? So this is called Noah's Ark. And the reason they call it Noah's Ark, I think, is because it's as old as, the trap is as old as Noah's Ark. That's what I heard. These little traps get names and stuff. All right, now oh, you're still here. Okay, so yeah. I'm going to come back here again, back here, and I'm going to just kind of pause here, and we'll wrap this up now. But in a game like this, you're doing pretty good. Both sides are doing okay. You know, black, this move was silly. I don't know what this was for. He should have made a move like this, you know, move a piece out, right? But maybe he was trying to develop this way for some reason, and it can be done. But in general, just be straightforward, you know, just develop, maybe check me, or maybe you've seen why checking isn't all that great, you know, unless you can run away here. That's another reason not to make this move, because when you come out, now you can't run away here. But in general, as long as both players keep developing this game, maybe I'll pin the bishop, pin the knight. Maybe he'll unpin the knight. Maybe I'll castle now. Maybe he'll attack my bishop and I'll say, oh, I'm going to run now. Maybe he'll move the same piece twice again. That's not a good move because you're moving the same piece twice. You should be opening things up rather than moving the same pieces over and over again. Or even better, attack the center. People are scared to move in front of a pawn, but what's to be scared of? You just take it, so what? Right? But at least you're punching, you're getting out there. So I love this analogy. If you were a boxer and you had to come out into the center of the ring, would you come out into the center of the ring with your fists behind your back? No, your fists need to be punching. So these are your fists. These are your fists, and you need to punch your opponent before he punches you.
Wow, good analogy.
And the more fists you have out, the more, and the closer they are to the center, the more likely you are to get a push. You can kind of see what happens when one side develops and the other doesn't. Just to wrap up, I'll just show you real quick. It can happen very quickly. So let's say black decides to go to sleep and white continues developing. I forget whose move it was here, but let's say white comes here and black just starts to do stuff that makes no sense. Then what can I do to start charging in the center? Okay, now let's say he probably should take, but let's say he just, you know, continues making random moves. Maybe I'll take here. He should probably take this way, but let's say he takes this way. Okay, now I have a plan. So I'm going to force this guy to move out of the way. I've already got something I'm setting up. Look at this knight. Because he made these bad moves, his knight has nowhere to go already. Where can he go? Here? Gets captured. Comes here? Gets captured. If he comes here, he gets captured. The only place he can go is here.
But then he goes back home.
Or here, right? But he's undeveloping. Now, remember when Paul Morphy started winning like that? He started giving up pieces because he had so much energy now. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to risk my knight here. Now, which two threats do I have going now? With this bishop, this is called a battery. So they're connected. So what are my two threats? Because remember, it's always two. You got to find two threats.
For the queen, you mean?
Yeah, what's the queen threatening? Threatening two things.
Well, it's boo. Oh God, I can't see it so easily. Okay.
So one is here.
Yeah.
See the rook?
Yeah.
And he could just move out of the way, but he can't because there's another threat. So where's the other threat?
From the
And this is the old 4-move checkmate. Look for the 4-move checkmate.
Oh, so you mean if the rook moves away?
If the rook moves away, because right now I'm threatening the rook, right?
Yeah.
So what happens if the rook decides to move away? Because that's why it's two threats. Think 4-move checkmate. Where's the 4-move checkmate here? Or the scholar's mate, we call it. You remember the scholar's mate with the bishop and the queen and the F7 square?
F7. Oh, no, I don't remember.
This is the F7 square.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
F7, checkmate, bishop, queen. See?
Oh, wow.
So see, I'm threatening the rook over here, and I'm threatening this. Now, how did I do that? Well, he was not moving pieces. He made this, I gave him kind of a tasty treat to see if he would go snap it up. This is called a poison knight. He took the poison knight. Now I'm attacking this way and this way.
Wow, okay.
And notice where are my pieces? Are they in the center or are they scattered around the board?
They're mostly in the center.
Yeah, see, I've got the center.
Yeah.
And what am I doing? I'm beginning to dominate because I'm in the center.
Got it.
It's just one example.
I am so new at this that it's hard to see that you can actually attack on both sides of the board.
Yes.
So sometimes I focus on one side and I totally ignore the other.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what we all do when we're starting out. I remember when I was in high school and I was used to beating everybody I played. One time I played this guy I hadn't met before, and he crushed me. And I said, "What happened?" And he said, "You were only focusing." Yeah, he said to me, "You have to look at the whole board."
Wow.
And I never forgot that. And when I went and began tournament play, of course now, yeah, I can't even look at a chessboard the same anymore. To me, it's one big thing. It's not
Wow.
it's not a bunch of little skirmishes happening
Yeah,
here and
that's
there.
what I do, little skirmishes.
But it still can be fun, even at the skirmish level. Chess can be fun, right? Because it's you
Wow,
still.
it's beautiful. It's nice.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Well, it's beautiful looking at you doing things.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you, Anthea. Thank you again. And we'll
Thank you.
meet next week, same time.
Next week, same time. Great.
Some more.
And like I said, if there's any question, if anybody wants to ask me any questions, definitely you can ask me questions. And yeah, I did everything I planned to. I wrote this is my lesson plan, the history of chess. All right, I'll see you guys next time.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.